Hi, I'm Shelley Wood, and this is my tiny sewing room where I make doll clothes sewing videos. Now, normally all my videos have something to do with making doll clothes. You're used to seeing this desk, but today I'm going to show you how to make a lovely watercolor holiday card with a pretty botanical frame using watercolor pencils. Here's a quick list of what you'll need to make a holiday card with watercolor pencils. I'll be using 4 colors of watercolor pencils, an ordinary pencil for drawing, a dry paper towel, masking tape, watercolor paper with a seam for folding the card, a swatch of watercolor paper to use as a palette, a ruler or straight edge for my frame, watercolor brushes with a tub of water, and a messy mat for my work surface. Now, I didn't follow my own directions correctly, but you should tape your card down before you start to work with it. So here's how you tape it down. You just use masking tape. Draw a little rectangle in the center of the bottom half of the card. So that's what I'm doing here. Color the center of your rectangle using a light colored background color. So I'm just mixing some purple and some pink to come up with something, sort of a pastel color. Draw and/or paint a botanical frame. Now I just mixed some blue and some yellow to create a light green. And then I started painting some little shapes on there like holly leaves. And I'm kind of following the basic rectangle edge. Now you could have gone all the way around with the holly leaves, but I wanted to be creative. So after I filled in my holly leaves with a lot of wetness to make it kind of pop, then I went ahead and did more of a bough, like say an evergreen tree bough. And you'll notice I'm using more blue with the evergreen tree bough. Once I used colored pencils to draw in the evergreen tree bough, then I wetted it. And now you'll see I'm adding even more blue to create ivy leaves. Now again, you don't have to do 4 different edges. I just wanted to show the variety of possible frame styles for the botanicals. Now I felt that my evergreen bough didn't have enough oomph to it, so I added a little more color. Now to make my holly berries, I used my watercolor pencil kind of like a paintbrush. So you'll see me dip it in the water and just add dots. To make the pink wreath at the bottom, I drew directly on my card. So that's what I'm doing here, and I used the purple first. Once I finished drawing my purple wreath with my watercolor pencil, I used a paintbrush to drop a little bit of water onto it, and you can see it really turns it a nice color. So you can be kind of creative. If you're doing a Christmas wreath, it doesn't have to be traditional green. To make the letters, I started with a pencil. And then you can see on my left, I have a guide. I mean, you can find all kinds of fonts on the internet. Next, I created paint on my palette with my pencils, just like I did for the leafy border. And I colored in my letters just like I did with my leaves. So you can see I'm kind of testing the colors. Seems like later I added a little bit more to make it darker. And I'm comparing it to make sure it kind of jumps off of the background. I don't want it the same pink as the background. I left the wet paint to dry overnight, and then I added outlines and shadows with markers. It's also okay to add details to the card itself, like the blue vines that I added to my ivy. And again, notice it's blue, it's not even green. You can be creative with your colors. Now I'm using a Sharpie here, and I kind of wish I'd used something with a finer point, but that's what I had, and it'll work. Remove the masking tape very slowly and carefully. You don't want to tear the paper of the card. It looks like I'm going fast, but I went real slow. Fold your card in half, and then you'll want to write a message inside for whoever will receive this card. So here I am folding it. You want to make sure, if you're just using a piece of watercolor paper, that you actually score before you fold it to help that fold have a nice clean edge to it. And you'd write your message inside. Now you have a lovely holiday card to give to a friend or family member.